Ace of Swords reversed. The reversed Ace of Swords, though generally a positive card, warns that you must be very careful with your thinking. When it appears, it is easy to feel that something is positive when in fact it is not. Seek outside input. In general, the reversed Ace of Swords indicates that you need to be careful about illusions. It is very easy to trust people who are untrustworthy. It is very easy to think that just this once a get-rich-quick scheme may actually work. Be thoughtful and circumspect. Work. In the context of work, the reversed ace can mean that you are close to having a major misunderstanding about work. Don't make any sudden moves, and don't decide that a job which has been good for you for many years has suddenly gone bad. If you are looking for work, try to think from the hiring person's perspective. If you are attempting to change careers, how can you show that you are prepared for this new career? Be practical and realistic now, and think things through carefully. Love. In terms of love, the reversed ace can mean that you may fall hard for someone who might be wildly inappropriate for you. There's nothing wrong with taking a walk on the wild side, and there is truth that opposites attract. However, if someone tells you that they are not looking for a commitment, or that they are not good at relationships, your rational response is to believe them. Again, be cautious. Finances. The reversed Ace of Swords calls you to triple-check your assumptions about money, especially when it comes to new investments. Even someone you have worked with for years can become desperate and or make mistakes with regard to your money. Think for yourself and check up on how your nest eggs are doing. Health. The reversed ace warns that you may meet some convincing, yet mistaken, alternative health care providers or ideas. Before you undertake a regimen of any type, do some due diligence. Find out what it is all about and what others have said who have tried the same approach. The same can be true of traditional doctors. If you are prescribed medication, it's important that you know what it is, why you're taking it, and check the dosage. Do your best to think as clearly and non-emotionally about your health as you can. Spirituality. Again, the reversed ace can show that you are in a mindset that means it is easy to get overly invested in spiritual ideas which in the long run may prove to be of little value to you. Be cautious about forceful people who try to get you involved in new organizations, particularly spiritual organizations which require you to pay to belong. This is a time when your spirituality can grow through your own efforts. You don't need a big organization in order to learn and open yourself up more. Tarot history. The history of the tarot is shrouded in mystery. Very little in the way of concrete information is known about its origin, although many things have been written about it. We will probably never know the truth, as fact and fiction seem to be irrevocably mixed nowadays. The tarot originated in northern Italy in the early 15th century, sometime between 1420 to 1440. Despite the fact that it is often attributed to originating from China, Egypt, India, or Morocco, to name just a few, there is absolutely no evidence that this is the case. Nor, as is often quoted, is there any evidence whatsoever that the tarot was brought to Europe by the Romanis. The name tarot is often attributed to being Egyptian, Hebrew, or Latin. This is not the case. The earliest names are all Italian in origin. The cards were originally called carte de triomphe. Around 1530 the word tarocchi began to be used to differentiate them from a new game of triumphs that was in vogue at the time. The etymology of this new word is unknown. The German variant was known as tarot and the French tarot. The symbolism for the tarot is drawn from the culture of medieval and Renaissance Europe. The tarot subjects are distinctive to European Christendom. The symbolism does not come from Egypt or any of the other exotic locales often mentioned. It is often stated that modern-day playing cards evolved from the tarot. This is not the case. Modern-day playing cards came to Europe courtesy of Islam. They were an adaptation of the Islamic Mamluk cards. They appeared quite suddenly in many different European cities between 1375 and 1378. These early cards had suits of cups, swords, coins, and polo sticks, and courts consisting of a king and 2 male underlings. The tarot adds the Fool, the trumps, and a set of queens to this system. Sometime before 1480, the French introduced cards with the now familiar suits of hearts, clubs, spades, and diamonds. The Joker is not original to either the early form of modern-day cards, or to the tarot, but instead originated in the USA around 1857 and was used as a wild card in poker as well as the highest trump in euchre. It is also often stated that the Catholic and Protestant churches outlawed the tarot and all who used it in an effort to stamp out so-called heretical teachings. This is not the case. The Inquisition documented what the Church considered as evidence of heresy in great detail. The tarot was not even mentioned. After the Reformation, less controversial images for the Pope and Papess were substituted by card makers as the Church had objected to the original images. It is often said that the tarot was not used as a divination tool prior to 1781. The tarot was used as early as the 16th century to compose poems describing personality characteristics. There is historical evidence that in one case at least these verses were presented as relating to the person's fate. In other words, divination. Divinatory meanings were assigned to the tarot in Bologna in the early 1700s, and this is the first unambiguous evidence of tarot divination. Ordinary playing cards were connected with divination as early as 1487. It is not unreasonable to think that the tarot was also. The tarot has often been attributed with being a pillar of Western esoterica occultism. This is certainly not the case. The first occult writers to discuss the tarot were Court de Gabellin and the Comte de Melot in 1781. The tarot was not mentioned in any occult work for the first 350 years of its existence. The terms Major Arcana, Minor Arcana, High Priestess, and Hierophant are anachronistic when referring to the older tarot decks. The historically appropriate terms are the trumps and the fool, the suit cards, Papess or Popess, and Pope. Likewise, pentacles and wands are relatively recent substitutions for the traditional suit names of coins and staves or batons. The original Italian titles of the cards were in some cases different from the later French titles that have become familiar to us through the Tarot de Marseille and its descendants. Also, the ordering of the trumps varied considerably in Italy where the cards originated. It is not known which ordering is the earliest one. Even the number of cards in the deck varied a great deal. So care should be used in making statements about the original meaning of the cards based on the familiar titles and ordering. Many believe that the Waite-Smith Tarot is the original, standard, or most authentic tarot deck in existence. This is absolutely untrue. The Waite-Smith/Rider-Waite deck was created in 1909, not even 100 years ago, making it a relative newcomer in the almost 600-year history of the tarot. There is actually no definitive version of the tarot.